So when you say entry level with some experience, how does a person get HR experience?
So a lot of the schools now easily have internships or what have you where you can get some level of experience. I think because HR is a people based function, you could do a lot and be considered HR experience from designing and developing training to resource management. So if you have to manage resources and people and do what we consider workforce strategy, which is basically how many people do we need, where are they coming from, what's the skill set, and where do we need to deploy them to? You could easily show some kind of experience, at least tangential experience, that will qualify you at least for a conversation.
Okay, cool. Scenario. Person A has a issue with person B at the company, but person B is probably seen to be a little bit more valuable than person A. What should they do from an HR perspective about either reporting this or going about this situation?
What should person A do?
Person A is the person that has the issue with person B, but person A knows it's going to be one of those their word versus mine type of stuff.
Oh yeah. Oof. Give me like a scenario. Give me like a is it a cheating? Is it stealing?
Let's
Is it misappropriating work? What's
let's just say they're having issues with a tough manager, or the manager is always taking credit for their word.
oh
It's other little stuff that people tend to go through sometimes at the workplace, microaggressions, getting treated differently from other employees, those type of things.
the thing that we say on the podcast all the time? I said I was gonna make a t-shirt. Document everything. I mean everything. And the engagements, the interaction, the time, the place, who was there. Because much of what's hard to do, especially from an HR perspective, when someone is brought to us with like they're having a problem, we're going to first try to get you to reconcile it yourself or try to be a mediator. But if it's something like ethical or illegal or immoral, what have you, we need evidence. And more often than not, people will come with just generalizations and not evidence. And we can't do anything with that. And the minute you raise that flag, you got to be ready for whatever consternation comes with the fact that you raised that flag. So if you don't have your receipts in hand, it's not a lot we're going to be able to do for you. And I tell people all the time, unless you have this very niche skill set, more often than not, the company's not going to give you the tiebreaker. They're going to give it to the manager. So you have to be very aware of what's your intention. What do you want to get out of it? If you want the person to behave differently, is there a way for you to confront them in a way that's disarming, but still gets your point across? For example, if a manager comes and gives you some kind of microaggression, oh, I can't believe you're eating that today, or some version of that, right? Or oh, I can't believe you decided to give me this report 3 days late, or some version of that. They give you some kind of what we call sass, right? Ask very bluntly, it sounds like you're displeased. Can I help you with something? Learn how to ask the direct question in a passive way that puts the person at attention to let them know that you see what they're doing, right? Another way to consider what you need to do yourself is figure out what your end game is. Do you want to repair the relationship? Do you even want to have a relationship with the person? Is it irreconcilable? Are you ready to just burn the bridge? Because I'm not against burning some bridges. I don't burn them all, but I'm okay with burning a few. I think it's important for you to understand like the long game of your career. What's the thing you want out of this situation, and how is that going to play into the end goal of making your next promotion or getting the next thing? Because if the person is well liked and well loved or whatever, you're going to have a hard time getting people in your corner, even if they know they're wrong. Because more often than not, the conversation is going to be around, you should really do this. People are usually going to point you back to yourself. So if you can manage it yourself without taking on any undue stress or trauma or what have you, I would say try to do that. And also figure out if you know somebody that's neutral to the both of you that can speak to the person and give them some perspective. That's always a good. I like triangulation when I don't have the capital to talk to the person. Do you know somebody who could talk to them, not on your behalf, because you don't want to seem weak, but could you get someone to like ask questions like, hey, I think Natalie's great. How's she going with you? Like, how do you get somebody to advocate on your behalf? And the third thing is if you're really trying to pull the ripcord on an investigation or an inquiry, have all of your documentation in a row. And the documentation doesn't need to have a lot of energy in terms of your perspective. It needs to have the facts. On this day, he said that. On this day, she said that. On this day, he did this. And here were the people in the room that saw it. Get enough of that and then share it. And keep whatever emails that also support it.
Okay. Now, here's a fun one. What are some perks that people don't typically negotiate in their offer letter or their compensation package? Or maybe I should reframe and say, what's the most interesting thing you've seen someone negotiate for in coming into a company or something?
I've seen a swap when a company couldn't make them, like the company couldn't meet the financial demands. They asked for more vacation. For some of companies that are more structured, they tend not to make those concessions, but like, okay, you can't give me this, we'll give you, an extra week. I've seen I've seen at the executive level some really interesting things like, usage of vehicles and things like that, which was pretty dope. Also, if the company has some kind of long-term incentive plan or what have you, negotiating into that as well. So giving me a piece of stocks, and again, you can't give me what I want, give me this instead.
Yeah. Have you ever seen some of those companies? I guess it would depend though. Some of these companies, they own communities and apartments and stuff like that. Like, hey, I know y'all own one of them apartments right there. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and give me a penthouse suite.
I have I I have not worked for anybody that posh that I know of. I've done temporary housing and corporate housing, like so,
Really has.
and a lot of assignments. Yeah, I've been able to either negotiate into a corporate housing for an extended period of time or seen that happen for sure.
How does that work? Is it just a sip like I was explaining that they have a not a subdivision, but they have like maybe a couple of houses or where people stay at while they're transitioning to either be full time with the company or something like that?
So, in the cases that I've personally had, it's we're going to move you here. So, we are going to help you find the realtor of choice or whatever, or they know where there's a lot of places that come fully furnished because of executive lifestyle. And they will pack your whole house up, put it on the ship, put it on the back of a truck, and put it in storage. And you go live in this other house until you're ready to find and help you buy your house. So in one instance, no, actually multiple instances I've had where it's okay, I'm moving here. You're also going to help me find my house. So you're gonna pay for the realtor. You're going to also help offset these fees. You're going to help me get this loan. It's when companies have those resources, look into them for sure.
Yeah, I showed them like, you know what? I'll just stay in the corporate housing. But executives don't stay at companies long anyway.
Listen, for sure. I'm interested, HD, like what are some of the work challenges your audience is having? Like what are you hearing or what are you seeing on your side?
A lot of them are. So I think I would say one of the biggest ones is from just having consults with people is a lot of them are not. They don't have brag sheets.